Hey everybody, I am back with the at least final romantic movie for February of 2023. After this, I'll be wrapping up the final movie for Black History Month of 2023. So yeah, I'm really getting like the ball rolling. And once again, I want to thank all of you guys for the support y'all been giving me recently. You guys are really like racking up the numbers because like once again, once we get to the 400 subscriber goal, which is like really like 30 subscribers away, I'll be doing a Hot Ones challenge video where I get my buy like the hot sauces, that you see on the Hot Ones show, and try them out while answering any questions that you guys give me via Twitter or Facebook or YouTube. So yeah, that'll be the goal. Also, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, or my YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkativecarl. You can follow me in the links in the description, like my Twitter, so you'll know whenever I'm live, playing games and doing reviews, such as comic books, movies, TV shows, as well. If you want to put in any small kind of contribution to show your support, you can follow me on my Patreon. That's www.patreon.com/talkativecarl. Once again, link is in the description. You can check out that link. I got 3 very affordable tier lists where you can choose a particular topic, comic, movie that you want me to check out, or a few episodes of a TV show. Or at the highest tier, you can definitely request a entire season of a show that you want me to go ahead and check out in its entirety. But anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up to you guys. So the movie I will be at least the final romantic kind of comedy that I'll be reviewing for February is the movie Hall Pass, starring Owen Wilson and Jason Sudeikis. Now, the reason I put it on the list because after seeing like like the it's kind of like a spur in the moment edition. It wasn't necessarily on my list, but after watching the is going to be probably like almost like a couple of weeks now, the end credits of Ant-Man Quantumania with Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, as Mobius and Loki, seeing a different variant of Kang. I'm thinking to myself, man, Owen Wilson's like a dynamite actor, and especially after like seeing his performance in Loki, like people were really like starting to reacquaint themselves with their love of Owen Wilson. The only caveat I have against it is the fact that you got Owen Wilson, but you don't have him not one time say "wow," not once. Of course, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have him do it in season 2, which they're currently working on. And Loki has been like my favorite, my all-time favorite Disney Plus original show. Is so good. But I wanted to put in like an Owen Wilson movie, and I had a choice between I had like a choice between two of them that still fall in like the romantic comedy type of stuff with well it would have been 3 because I just now thinking about it, because I know everybody said, because it's like I know many people will say like, why don't you just go on with like Wedding Crashers, which I put on the list for next February, for February review month. But but it was You Mean Dupree in this, and I figured like I got some stuff to talk about with like Hall Pass, and like how some of the stuff, because this came out in 2011, and it seems, you know, some discussions can be made. Not many people, you know, like, at least critics give uh this movie any, I mean, understandable. I'm about to say, like, it didn't give it much props, but uh we'll get into it. But second here. But like I said, this movie stars Owen Wilson as Rick Mills, Jason Sudeikis as Fred Searing, Jenna Fisher as Maggie Mills, Rick's wife, Christina Applegate as Grace Searing, Fred's wife. Joy Behar has like a small role here as Dr. Lucille Gilbert. Nikki Willand as Leia, the Australian barista. Bruce Thomas as Coach Rick Coleman. Alexandra Daddario as Paige. You might know her from like the, you know, Percy Jackson Lightning Thief, the female lead in that. Alyssa Milano has a bit role as Mandy Bohawk. Derek Waters is Brent. Get this, because oh my god, I completely forgot he was in this. Tyler Hoechlin, Superman himself in the Lois and Superman TV show currently going on, as this baseball player Gary. Stephen Merchant as Gary Putney. JB Smoove as Flats. Larry Joe Campbell as Andrew. Richard Jenkins as Coakley. So essentially these are just, you know, two suburban guys. One is just a couple and the other is you know, is definitely a family man. Rick being like a real estate agent, while I keep wanting to call him just Jason Sudeikis, but Fred is a insurance agent, and they, I appreciate, like, I really like Jason Sudeikis and Owen Wilson's you know, chemistry. They like really like bounce off each other very well, and they just cracking jokes, you know, especially when they go visit some rich smuck's house, and like, oh, look at my new house and woo woo, that kind of thing. We'll get to it, but yeah, you see, like, you know, oh, of course, you know, Rick's having a happy home, got, you know, little children. You got a Paige who's like the babysitter, and they plan, you know, Rick and his wife plan on going out as a couple to this shindig that Dr. Lucille is doing. Excuse me. And you see, like, of course, it is disrespectful, but women should be able to understand this at the same time. And so it's not new when it comes to men. But Rick, you know, was sitting there having a conversation with his wife. They walking into the facilities, and a woman was walking past them, and he just quickly checked her out and just went and turned around and went back talking. And she, like, all clutching her pearls, like, oh my god, like, are you serious? You just checked out that girl's ass, like, oh, do you think she do you think she, do you know, did you do you think she noticed? Like, I noticed. Okay, that always gets a laugh out of me, because like, Owen Wilson is really funny. As like, just the sincerity, it was made it funny. It's like, oh, do you think she noticed? But clearly, yeah, you don't do that. Especially if you're with your girl, don't be checking out other girls' butts just so blatantly. But uh, it's just disrespectful. But at the same time, women, obviously, when you're not around, I mean, of course, you wouldn't find it respectful either way. But you're not always around, and of course, like your guys, when he's out and about, he's probably going to like notice, women. But as long as he doesn't like do anything, it's copacetic. But she like got offended. I'm pretty sure like a lot of women, it just all depends on the woman, will get like seriously offended and woo woo. But it's like it's a knee jerk reaction to like a straight male. It's like it because I remember having this conversation with many girls, including my ex. It's like, the guy just had like a knee jerk reaction to check out a hot girl. As it's like it's almost on instinct. Almost, it's like I don't know if this is our testosterone or just like the way we wired, but it's just like our knee jerk reaction, especially if it's on the corner of our eye. Now, when they walking in, uh, and they meet up with Fred and his wife, uh Fred teases Rick like, what is this, amateur hour? You don't turn as she's walking by. You you see her coming along towards you, you turn your head into the direction she's about to go, and as she's walking line, you can't help but see it. She's walking in your line of view, even though Fred's wife already knows the that little trick. She isn't fooled by it. But she just doesn't want him to know that she know, that kind of thing. It's immature, yeah, duh. But as they walking back home, Rick, tries, because most of them, especially in movies like this, always have like a complaint, like a guy doesn't take the initiative to like because they feel like get stuck in their ways and doesn't want to make their wife feel sexy anymore. Like Rick puts in the effort, like, look, I'm gonna drive the babysitter home. You put on something sexy. I will make sure that the kids are taken care of. We're gonna go make sure like I got it done, because like I want to take care of you tonight. So he takes Maggie home. Oh, of course, this sorority house that she's in, because she's a college girl, and she asks Rick, "Do you think he can buy her some beer, because she's about to be 21 in a week?" And Rick, assuming she's coming on to him, he and it's kind of funny, he roll it, just flash forward into possible scenarios that could go wrong if he like sleeps with his children's babysitter. And like it's just funny, it's like get a divorce and like child custody, and possible arrest for like having sex with technically a minor, that kind of thing. Well, it's not minor, she's already 20 and she's about to be turned 21. Not split hairs here, but still. But either way, he was like, which guys should think about that kind of stuff, because like we always have to, because most people don't give men credit when they actually do think about things like that, especially if they in like a serious relationship and uh like because it a little usually I have this kind of private kind of stories when I usually post on my Patreon, but I want to bring this up here because it kind of reminds me of this kind of scenario. A long time ago, when I was with my ex, um, my one of my relatives, was having like a birthday thing, shindig. Ironically, it was the same relative that I went a week ago on her birthday party at like a different spot, and this is many years ago. We went there. My father and I went, and I remember there was this woman with a beautiful body, and we was vibing and everything like that. But it's like but I kind of like ruffle her, like yeah, you're cool, woo woo, and everything. Like thanks, blah 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 blah. I say all that to say, like the next day, uh, I call up my girl, let her know like how the night went, and I told her that it was a check. She was like hit on me a little bit or whatever like that. I told her like I told her like like no thanks, woo woo, and then no, of course, no total shade on her, but it's just like she kind of was taken aback a bit. It's like, so you're saying like you let some girl like dance up on you? Woo, woo. It's like, whoa, no, like like it wasn't even all like that. But we always like probably like spoken for like a good maybe couple of minutes, and like she was just on the dance floor. Like I wasn't even in the middle. I wasn't even dancing. Like I don't dance like that anyway. But I mean, she was very attractive. But I expected her to be like, oh, cool, like a little bit more proud. The fact that like, because I don't really get attention like that. I never even got attention like that before. The girls like that prior to my ex, and she knew this, and she was like, I was explaining to her like, whoa, I don't get it, because like I didn't do anything, and I even like told you straight up. I didn't really have to tell you that, especially if nothing happened. I don't even have to tell you, but I was upfront with you about what happened, which guys are supposed to do when they're in a serious relationship. And whatever like woo woo happened, you make sure you like be upfront. She like got in her feelings a little bit. I had to tell her like like I would expect you to be a little bit proud and grateful that I didn't. Oh, I hate to use the word grateful as something like men and women and non-binary people in a relationship are supposed to do, but show like a bit of appreciation that that person thought of you in that moment and decided not to go through with it, or at least step out of line or anything of the sort. And because not many girls realize that how easy it is for girls can easily cheat anytime they want to. They are just built in a more feminine, they got like they're just gorgeous. They have sex at the ready whenever they want to. Honestly, I mean, because think about it. You take one guy and one girl and put them in two different bars and have the girl shout, "Anybody want to have sex with me?" she'll have at least a handful of guys trying to knock on her door. Well, a guy would say something like that. No matter how handsome he might be, everybody would be just, laughing at him, looking at him like he's crazy, or possibly call the cops. It just doesn't work that way. So it's just that when a guy in a relationship gets somebody flirting with him and he turns her down, take a moment to appreciate the fact that your man's being responsible, that he's stay a true blue, honest, good man to you. Because how many women complain about like there's no good man out there, that all men cheat, blah blah blah. But it's like, when you do the good thing and he's upfront about it and blah blah blah, take the moment to, I remember I forgot what comedian who said this, but it states that if you put that same energy that you would if a girl finds out that, how a girl gets all worked up and mad when she finds out her guy is cheating, if she should put that same energy into that guy when she sees how of a good man he is and how faithful he is. Put all that same energy into do something positive for him. Make him a sandwich, sleep with him if he's in the mood, buy him a new video game or something, like that same energy you put into packing all this stuff and tossing out of the house, put that same energy into making sure he is comfortable, because guys don't get it like that. And when they do and they turn it down for you for a monogamous relationship, I'm just saying. But anyway, so Rick's coming home and like making sure the kids are taken care of, and then as soon as he's like walking into the bedroom and she's like pretending to be asleep. Excuse me. So she ain't really put in much effort. They've been married since they were they've been together since they was in college. So I guess the relationship at this point stagnated, at least for her. But he still finds her very much appealing. But this whole point of like marriage counselors and stuff like that, people need to have a dialogue and not just assume the worst or stop trying. So they end up going to this rich dude's house that they know of, and then he's showing off like all this like he's talking so highly about himself by buying a Prius, but it's sitting right next to a freaking Hummer. And it's like, God, it's just so pretentious. This is what people hate. I mean, they mention this, I think I don't know, it was Maggie or Grace, but one of them mentions like, this is why the terrorists hate us. This is why people hate rich people in general, because they behave like this. And they all go to this, all but the two husbands, they all go into this bunker that this rich dude set up, and it's soundproof, but they're monitoring these two as they're walking through the house. And this part gets really hilarious because, well, just Jason and Owen Wilson just trading jokes back and forth as they talk about this rich dude with this giant oil painting of him and his wife and his two children. And it's like, one of them was like, I get you want to dress like a total douche, but do you have to put up your put your kids through that? And then they start talking about Alyssa Milano's character and her obviously fake breast and everything like that. it was, it's just like, you know, just it cracks me up, and it just like talking, because you never know who talks all kinds of stuff when you're not looking, and when you're observing it. Of course, you'll feel like embarrassed and ashamed and a little peed. So they get chased out of the house, and chastised by their wives, like all you guys thinking about sex. And it's like, yeah, what person that isn't elderly or, you know, 12 and below, isn't. As soon as you hit puberty, up to the point where you're geriatric, you have that on the brain. At least for guys, for the most part, we constantly do. We have like a, high sex drive until we reach that elderly age. It's a scientific fact. I mean, the way this movie was, when this movie came out, we didn't have these kind of podcasts and these kind of thorough discussions back then, but, or at least weren't, the whole term kink shaming or no kink shaming wasn't even a thing then. And it's like, marriages back then, I'm not sure like how marriages was back then, but the marriage rates, has always been like the topic about, like, on the decline and everything like that, because the divorce rate is crazy. But as women 80% of the time, upon research, initiate divorce more so than men. And because by and large, men, you hear the term cheaper to keeper, by and large, men, wants to stay in a relationship because we like stability. And so they get chastised for, like, I think about sex, so what? It's like, it's not a crime. I'm not doing anything out of pocket, because I'm still faithful to you. But ladies, like these two ladies here, I would like to say, like, well, this is your fault. Your men are easily aroused. It's your job as wives to satisfy them. Of course, they're gonna talk about it, but it's, you're taking care of your business. They wouldn't have it like, they're backed up essentially, and it's on you. And it's kind of, I think that's one of the part of the criticisms from critics back then, how like there wasn't more in-depth discussion. But it's a, like a comedy, and it's like, you don't expect much in-depth discussions about something like this, but it gives you something to think about. Especially the term hall pass. I don't think it was like a title on anybody's lips until this movie came out. But that's a real thing, ladies. It's like, if you're in a relationship with a guy, if he's horny, satisfy him. I mean, obviously not, when either one of you are sick or whatever extenuating circumstances, but on average, you should be making sure he's satisfied. It's not crazy to think about, that a guy is constantly horny. Anyway, so one day on the job, Maggie and Grace are talking with their doctor friend, and she suggested that they give their husbands a hall pass, because she did it for her husband, and it's pretty much like a week off from marriage, because she theorizes that, if it's akin to telling somebody not to do something and they just want to do it all the more. So if you remove the stigma, then the reverse effect will happen. And because they feel like, if it wasn't, she says, like, if it wasn't, they think if it wasn't for you, then then they would have been like, doing it big and everything like that as a single man, because they feel like their best years are behind them. And what was it, Christina Applegate's Grace. Grace at one point pointed out, like, in a line, like, Fred thinks I should be, you know, gracing him as he's walking through the door as a conquering hero because he managed to look at a pair of boobies without touching them. And it's like, kinda. It's maybe not to that extreme, but it's like, kinda. At the very least, satisfy your guy. He's your husband. If he wants to have sex, do your wifely duty and satisfy him. And the same with him for you. If you're in a move, he'll gladly satisfy you. But it's just like, it's that whole, you know, it's kind of a joke on like stale marriages that lack, you know, the intimacy part of it. So uh uh Maggie brings up to Rick, you know, giving him a hall pass without even actually going to maybe like a marriage counselor or having to sit down with your husband or have sex with him so he can be satisfied. You don't do none of that. You went straight to the hall pass and just, you know, pretty much allowing, like, you know, like a chance for him to just sow his wild oats or whatever like that. But it was kind of dumb on her part. Because I honestly do not feel bad, you know, at all. So this part is really cracks me up. Fred, a little jealous, and tries to sneak away, or at least trick his wife into giving him a hall pass, and she's not buying it. So once again, this guy who needs his wife to satisfy him, he has to resort to go in his car to masturbate. And because his eyes are closed, he doesn't notice a cop car coming by. They stop and they look at it, and they're like, they look at he's just doing his business, and they just laughing at it. So all of a sudden now, like, the whole neighborhood is out, and like, you know, his wife had to bring him inside. Oh my god, that part got me. Oh my god. And one of the cops was having like a big old laugh. That was like the funniest thing she ever seen. So because the fact that he was probably just going to town, it was so doggone funny. But so he got his all pass. So the guys brings their, you know, other guy friends out, try to hit on women at this you know, restaurant bar thing. The thing like is like an Applebee's or something. But things like, you know, get proceedingly hard as the days go on, because they decide to stay at like a motel in case they bring in any females. But the wives take the children and go to like I forget where they go, like, you know, like Cape Cod or something like that. And while there, Maggie meets her father's friend who's running this like baseball team for this college. And that's where Grace meets up with, you know, Tyler Hoechlin. I was gonna call him Tyler Hoechlin because he's, you know, it's pretty much Superman. This is young Superman. And she obviously have a good thing for him. And the guys are getting discouraged at this point because they come to realize that even back in the day, they had a hard time getting women. And Fred brings up a very true thing in real life, that guys eventually have to figure out that you got to go through a bunch of 50 no's before you get that one yes. It's a numbers game when it comes to asking women out. You get like a no, and you go to a bar, you get a no, 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 no. Eventually, you will get a yes, and that's how it is. Girls can, like I said, they can walk up to any guy. A guy would have no problem, like, hooking up with her. You know, whether they'll take her seriously is a different story, because guys are like gatekeepers when it comes to relationships. Girls are gatekeepers when it comes to sex. You cannot get a relationship without the whole intimacy part in the first place happening. But when girls give guys that access, it's up to them to seal the deal and making sure, like, you're in his eyes. Oh, I want her, I want to lock it down with her. You got to make sure he sees value in you to secure a solid relationship, because that is the ultimate goal. But like I said, the guys are getting discouraged because they're out of touch. They haven't been in the game for a while to, like, talk to women properly. But Rick at one point, is sparking up because the thing is, if you're trying too hard, then it's not going to work, because you're probably going to be in your head too much. Rick strikes up a casual conversation with this barista, who him and Fred, go to this coffee shop, and it's this hot Australian girl, and they always like, oh wow, she is stunning. So she and him like have this pretty cool conversation. She steps away to answer her phone, and this punk Brent, you try to give Rick crap. And I like Owen Wilson's because it's so rare that Owen Wilson get to be like a cool, strutting his masculinity in a situation. You don't see that very often, but here, where he just telling this guy, like, oh, what you think? Like, you over there and I'm over here, like, I can't do, like, nothing happened to you. Like, this is like a moat, like a castle, everything like that. Like, I can't climb over here and beat your ass. Like, because trust me, kid, like, once your avant-garde money runs out, you need a job, and you be looking for guys like me to hire guys like you. Let me tell you something, guys like me doesn't hire guys like you. So shape up. And like, clearly this, show of confidence, because women are attracted to confident guys, really appeals to Leia. And as he's having his coffee outside, she invites him to go work out at this gym with her, which he eventually shows up, and they go to separate, like, facilities to work out on different things, but they make an arrangement to get like grab a beer afterwards, which he misses out on because he ended up falling asleep into this pool area, and you have to get, because his body is kind of numb because it was in the hot water for too long, and he had to get rescued by these two naked dudes, which I don't see why he couldn't grab a towel or anything right away. Yeah, you're worried that guy was gonna be drowning or something like that, but it's like, I don't know, it's a bath area thing. You can just grab some towels along the way. I'm pretty sure this spread all over the place. Is weird, because no dude wants to wake up with another man's thing in his face. How traumatic is that? So it was like the 6th day, and this guy they know, who's pretty much like the only player that they know personally, named Coakley, played by Richard Jenkins, who's kind of like it's one of those things where the guy clearly gets laid, stuff like that, but he's kind of old, and like he's still playing at like he's in his 20s and 30s, and it's almost like sad, but can't deny the results. So he's teaching these guys because they want to commit and don't want to, like, because they refuse, because out of sheer pride they do not want to like give up, and it's like saying to their wives, like, yeah, we are losers without you because we need to, you to get laid. So we want to come back as conquering heroes, kind of like they want to show like the balance of power situation. They don't want that skewed, because in a way, Fred is right. The relationship between a man and woman, like the woman has to respect the guy in some level. Like, you don't be don't be one of those toxic dudes, but she also still has to respect you in a way as, like, because women might not admit this, but it's just that if a guy got laid a lot, at least a modicum amount of women in their past, it shows that they have, like, some level of, like, confidence and secure their nature, and like other women found him appealing, so that holds some level of value subconsciously to them, whether they really want to admit it or not, because it is a thing. Because look at Leo DiCaprio. That's like, you think like, oh, because you think how many every year he's on a yacht with a bunch of women in their 20s, and it's like, you don't think that you think at a certain point, like, girls will look at that like, oh, he's messing around with all these other girls, ew. It's like, no, they want to be that one girl on that thing that can land Leo DiCaprio, but he's like a high value guy. He has the option to exercise of having sex with a lot of women, and that's the thing. And because that women sees like, oh, he got something that all these girls want, I want to, like, see what's up with that too. It's just the appealing of it, rather than a guy who hasn't got laid in forever, if not at all. It's, I would say, doesn't appeal to some girls, but that's like the exception, not the rule kind of situation. There are girls out there like that, but it's just like, it's quite a minor by comparison to like the wide variety. Anyway, so thanks to Coakley, it's kind of cool. He points out about certain, because he's been in the game so long, he knows like the ins and outs. It's like being taught by Charlie Sheen when it comes to picking up women. He points out about one girl that Fred is eyeing, and he was like, you don't want her, she got carpal tunnel, because she her hands like all crumpled up and stuff like that, because she's like an office worker, so she's been typing or something like that. Another girl, oh, she's a smoker. Her lips are fidgeting, and she's eyeing the smokers, going out through the side door, and she got like a big purse, and because she got like a sandwich in there or something like that. What does it tell you? This girl needs something in her mouth, exactly, kind of thing. And then they spot this seemingly perfect tent in the club, surrounded by these other girls, and he points out, oh, it's a optical illusion. You take um a 5 or a 6, uh and surround themselves with a bunch of uh 3s and 4s, she gonna look good by comparison. But you block them out, and like Fred said, like, you're a beautiful mind. It's like, because she looked like she like turned to almost like a werewolf at the and back and forth like that. It was like kind of, it was very wild. So Rick ends up bumping into his children's babysitter again. She's turned 21 officially. She's partying with her aunt, who then proceeds to admit to Rick that she was kind of hitting on him that night. And good on Rick taking a responsible route, which I don't know. It's like, it's hard to say every guy would do this. In like on paper, a guy would do the responsible thing. Most guys would do the responsible thing. It's like, no, you're my kid's babysitter. I'm not gonna like cross that line. Look, have a happy birthday. Because he met up with Leia and he's like kicking it with her. But like 9 out of 10, most guys will probably take, like Mag into like the back room or a bathroom and just like do it and come right back. But Rick chose not to like cross that line, because the purpose of the hall pass is like kind of like, it's like Vegas. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Vegas doesn't come along with you and babysit your kids, because that makes it awkward at that point. And it'd be looking at each other with awkward stares moving forward until the kids get too old for a babysitter anymore. So it's probably a good idea. While he's dancing with Leia, he notices that Brent is DJing, and he's asking like, "Is that your boyfriend or something?" Because he's giving like attitude all the time, and she admits like like they made out one time, it was a mistake, but it's cool or whatever. And Fred, in the meanwhile, it's like he's talking to this one girl who has this who's talking with his other friend, but he's getting a little distraught because he telling Coco like, I feel like I could do better. And Coco explains to him, every idiot in the world, any idiot in Vegas thinks he can do better. And it's like, when you get a win, take your money and go. And it's essentially like, it's true, because this is, guys, we have no problem with settling with women that is at least, if not close, if not on our lane, or at least just above average on our lane. Because no guy, unless he's that arrogant, no guy expects to walk home with Wonder Woman. But we'll gladly come home with, we'll be happy to come home with Vicky Vale. We'll be cool. It's more often than not the girls who all shoot at that 10%, top 10% of guys and stuff like that. And not in most of them, not all women, but most women, you don't see unless they hit to a certain age point when they realize that you're not in that kind of lane where that top 10% of guy will lock you down like you're that special. When they have like Leo DiCaprio, he is definitely that top 10%. He had a plethora of women he can choose from. He doesn't settle down with any of them because that's his option. He worked hard to achieve that level Why would he like some guys would settle down like LeBron James, who, if he was single, who can exercise that right to choose any woman he's messing around with to be that one he's locking down with. But he could choose like the Leo DiCaprio option not to. And they work hard to get in that position. That's why you like guys in that position, because you want to be in that position. You want to move in, essentially, and get that security and that. Essentially, girls want that arm candy of a husband in that top 10%. But are you worthy enough for a high value guy? Are you? So Coakley convinces Fred, like, dude, take the win. You got a girl, do your hall pass thing. You're not gonna walk out here with the prom queen. Just get it when you got it. So Fred takes the girl to the motel, and it didn't turn out well because the girl wasn't feeling too well, and he's taking her to the bathroom, thinks she's gonna like possibly vomit. But as he was sitting down, it gets really gross. As he's sitting down on the edge of the tub, she sneezes and she shits all over the wall, like complete spray. It's like, and then she's talking about like, oh, I'm feeling better now. You want to do it? Like, you gotta be, you out of your freaking mind. So Fred, great guy, because he's like making sure she's taken care of, cleaned up. You pay for her cab ride home so she can make sure you get home okay, because he's not going to take advantage, especially not after that. But he's not going to take advantage of the girl who's clearly not in any position to do anything. And then he meets up with Maggie's not Maggie, I keep calling her Maggie, like Paige, the babysitter. Paige, who was trying to, because apparently the wives couldn't keep their mouth shut and started blabbering about in Cape Cod about this hall pass thing. And so she wanted to see like, oh, I can hook my aunt up with Rick, but she ended up bumping into Fred thinking it's Rick, and Rick and her started having like a thing going on. While Rick goes to Coakley's place, he's having like an after party kind of situation. He goes with Leia, and he explains to her that because Leia's kind of like go with flow kind of woman, but she's not a homewrecker. But he states that he has a hall pass thing, so it's like you got a clear conscience. You don't have to worry about wrecking anything. And while Brent, losing his freaking mind, Leia goes to deal with that. While Rick has a moment thinking about like what he's possibly going to do, and it's like he has a change of heart because like, hey, all pass or not, I'm not going to do this to my wife because I love her too doggone much to ruin that. So he breaks the news to Leia, even though like I think he could have still hit it. I don't know, but I mean like the meaning is still there, and the purpose of that choice is still there, and like the lesson is learned and stuff like that. But it's like, but he gets a call because like I'm bouncing back and forth. They get back to the ladies. Maggie gets hit on by the baseball coach, but she turns him down. Kind of realizing, what a mistake it was to do this whole hall pass thing because she loves her husband. It's like you shouldn't even brought it up in the first place. Go to freaking marriage counseling, or just have a simple discussion with this guy about if you feeling like, well, he wasn't stagnating. He wanted to, do with you that night. He was even setting everything up to make sure it happens, but you want to fake sleep, so it's kind of on you. But Grace ends up having sex with like Tyler Hoechlin, and after she explains to him like this is just a one-time thing, this can't ever happen again, and he explains to her in utmost respect that he feels like, well, like, yeah, no offense, but like you're a little old for me, and it's like, I don't want people like talking mess about us and blah blah blah. Of course, it still kind of hurts her feelings, but I mean, I don't think he could have explained it any nicer than he already did. He was more than aggressive. He wasn't being like a bad guy about it or anything. He laid it down like he personally. I mean, not every guy would turn down Christina Applegate. Are you joking? But it's just like there are guys out there who might not, they have like an age bracket of like, how old he's willing to like, willing to date a woman that's older than him. We all have it, but he doesn't want to be anything serious with this woman, which that's the whole point of her doing it. She didn't want to. She thought he was gonna be all teary-eyed over it, but guys don't get attached like that. More often than not, they don't. It's like, it is what it is. We got the job done. We can both part ways. And there are a few guys out in the world that might get attached, by a girl, but they're talking about the rule, not the exceptions. But she's driving back to the place that her and Maggie are staying at, but she's all teary-eyed and because she regrets that she cheated on her husband, but it ends up causing her to get into a car accident. And so that's where Rick, who got Fred's phone and keys because he gave it to Coakley to give it to him while he think he was gonna get laid with that young girl. So he races back, picks up Fred, who they're trying to, after like the whole situation is blown with like the aunt and Paige, they walk it out and they see Brent trashing Fred's car thinking it's Rick's, and the guy turns out to be the son of the lady that Fred was doing it with. And it was like, it's wild. Like, this babysitter has a cousin that at no point that these two ever like met. Like, you go to that coffee shop, like, I don't know how many times in that one time you seen Maggie there, and you put two and two together or anything like that, especially if she's babysitting for a while. But anyway, after finding out like, oh, one dude is hooking up with a girl that's not even his girlfriend. He's one of those kind of guys that in news nowadays with guys losing it because some girl didn't go out with them or whatever like that. They can't handle rejection or breakups or whatever. This falls in line with toxic masculinity, mind you. And after then, one dude's messing around with a girl that's not his, and the other one messing around with his own mom. So now he losing it. He got a gun and starts like shooting at them. The girls end up having to tackle him to the ground as he's as the guys get in the car and driving off. But he managed to hop on, and as they being chased by the cops because they're speeding, they make it to the hospital. But the cops are tackling him to the ground or trying to arrest him, and then Brett is trying to beat on them. He's wild mood. They arrest him after things got cleared up, and if Grace is fine. She just had a broken nose, and then it's like Fred feels like this is a second chance to make things right with his wife because he didn't feel like he appreciated her like he should have. In a way, he's right, but in a way, this is kind of on the lady's fault because you didn't talk with your guys. They are, they want to have sex a lot. It's on the wives to make sure they satisfy their husbands and vice versa. And it's like, I don't know why, like, that was like complicated to not realize that and put the onus on the guys. Like, shame on you for feeling aroused by women in general and being guys. It's like no, have sex with them. You're their wives, they're horny, have sex with them. But anyway, Rick goes to Maggie, expresses that he did not do anything on the hall pass. She didn't either. And he explains that because they had a conversation earlier in Act 1, like how she remembers her first time and even like the time at which it happened. It's like, remembers that freaking seriously about the first time. But he explains to her that she was his first time because he just couldn't get laid prior to her. And they reconcile, and so does Fred and Grace, even though Grace expressed like, oh, we gotta go to this Kathy Griffin thing, and like because he doesn't like going to Kathy Griffin like as much as she does, he tells her like everything that he did on Hall Pass just to get out of it. But yeah, that's pretty much Hall Pass. Not many people back then really, I mean, it did make some money back in 2011. Like it had a budget of 36 million, raked in 83.2 million. Not bad, not a bad look. But critics at the time, didn't care for like, I think we probably appreciate it more so now than they did back then, because like the whole thing with like, the whole women's needs and then men's needs and things like that. Why the only criticism I give it is the fact that they didn't have a serious discussion. These couples didn't have a serious discussion about each other's needs. Men require sex more often than not before they get too old for it. And women need to appreciate, wives need to appreciate that, I should say. But they seem like they put the onus on the guys, like it's their fault for daring to be attracted to somebody that's not their wives. And it's like men got eyes too, and just like women has eyes too. They all gonna be attracted to wherever they're gonna be attracted to. The point is not to cross that line. If you're married or even in a relationship, you don't cross that line. But if you are in a serious relationship, especially when it comes to being married, it's your job to satisfy each other. The guys definitely want it, and the women seems like the ones they wanted to make the whole thing stagnated, and they're the ones that made it a problem. To be fair, the way I saw it, but the jokes here are pretty doggone funny. I like the whole community aspects with the friends, the little as we get with them. But let me know what you guys think of Hall Pass. If you've seen it before, let me know in the comments below what you thought. And it's on HBO Max, so you can definitely check it out if you have HBO Max. And yeah, I will see you guys in a little bit for the wrap up of Black History Month with Wild Wild West, starring Will Smith and I want to call him Mr. Fishholder, Calvin Klein. keep thinking Mr. Fish Holder. But I'll see you guys in a little bit for that review.